Good morning, guys. Good evening, good night, good afternoon. Shalom, shikamo, wagwan, depending on your time zone. Mama Suji right here today is going through an interview or something.
An interview.
An interview. Well, yes. So today she has decided to put me through an interview. Let us see how we shall go through it. Yeah, how I'm going to answer to the interview questions, guys. Your mama is on the hot seat. Yeah. Yes. Here we are.
Okay, hello guys. Today we decided we are going to learn more about Mama Suji through the past, present, and maybe the future plans.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Thank you. Yes.
How would you explain, like, who is Mama Suji? How did you come up with the name Mama Suji?
Okay. Yeah. Mama Suji is a mother, is a wife, is a sister, is an auntie, and to some extent a grandma. And she's a daughter. She's a niece. Yes. Yeah.
And she's a granddaughter too.
And yeah, I'm a do I still have a grandma? No, I don't have a grandma currently. Yeah.
No any grand uncles?
No, aunties. I have uncles, but I don't have. Yes. Yeah. So, how I came up, you asked how I came up with the name?
Mama Suji.
Mama Suji, how I came up with that name, Mama Suji. First of all, that name, Suji, belongs to my dad. Belongs to my dad. And when I went to school, I remember in class 2, because in class 1, I didn't learn much. I didn't learn much in class 1 because tragedy struck us. So I didn't learn much in class 1. And in class 2, now writing the name. So my name is Esther Adiambo. But now that name I didn't know the spelling. So Suji was shorter. S-U-J-I. Just S-U-J-I. Mm-hmm. So that name has been with me from as early as I can remember. Because that's the first letter, the first syllable that I was able to write. Yeah. S-U-J-I. It was easier than Esther. You're taught to write your names, but now Esther, I can't connect those spellings in class 2,
Yeah.
So I'm trying, but this Suji, because you are supposed to write your father's name to combine with yours, so that you are in your name and your father's name. So I could try to write Esther, but that Esther I could write like this: E-S-T-E-R. It's still long, but that was not the right spelling. The right spelling was E-S-T-H-E-R. Mm-hmm. And then Suji. Adiambo I could not because it's long. The spellings are many. But Suji, your father's name, S-U-J-I. So that one stuck with me. So I could write maybe E, then Suji. So that name has been with me as long as I can think. And so when I got my boy, the last son, then I gave him that name. Yeah, full names of my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm mama. I'm a mother to Suji.
A daughter to Suji.
I'm a daughter to Suji and a mother to Suji. That's not that the others, I don't care about others. No, it's because that name has been with me, and I was actually brought up by my dad. I stayed with my dad the longest.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is how. Yeah, the name, I came up with that name. Okay. Mama Suji. Mama means mother. Yes. Mama is in Kiswahili, Kiswahili is a language that is spoken in East Africa. East Africa, guys, is in Africa, and here right now we are in Kenya. And where we are doing this interview, we are doing it in the house, in the village called Olenairi in Ngong, Kajiado County. And Kajiado County is in Kenya, and Kenya is in East Africa, guys. Yes. Yeah. So that's how the name came about.
Yeah. So Mama Suji, earlier you said that when you were in class 1, you got a tragedy. Would you mind talking about the tragedy you got at that early age?
Yeah, I can remember, because I think I was a sharp girl, a sharp child. We were taken to school. We went to school. My mother took us, said we'd be taken to school. That time she was ailing. She had gotten our last born, Dora. Yeah, our last born is called Dora. So when she got our last born, she started ailing. And January had just come. And so she said, we'll be taken to school. Earlier on the previous year, we were taken to school, to Luanda Dudi Primary School. It's in Game there. So we were doing this thing of, the teachers were doing like this. So if you can't touch your ear, then you can't go to class 1.
Then you're too young to be there.
Yeah, so now the following year now I was to go. But now my mother was sick. Our mother was sick. So she said we'll be taken to Gotregia Primary School, because she was like, if they go to Gotregia, they'll be near their auntie, our auntie, Leah Chirande. Leah Chirande was the firstborn in my dad's house, in my grandmother's house, my father's home. Yeah, she was the first child, and then my father is the lastborn. So she was married in that side, that hill called Gotregia. So in that hill, so my mother saw, like, when she's stuck, now the children, when we go to school, we'll be able to go to our auntie and have lunch. Yeah. So I remember her saying those words, that we'll be taken to Gotregia. So we were taken to Gotregia. We started going to school there. But after just 1 week, was it 1 week or 2 weeks? Yeah. When we came back from school, we are not started going to auntie to eat from there, because my mother was still there. Yeah. So they were almost still active. But I think she was foreseeing something, which maybe we are not seeing. But class 1, of course, you will not be going for lunch and coming back to school. You go home for good. Yeah. So we came back home at 1 o'clock for lunch, and of course to stay back until the following day. But that day it was strange. We met the sister on the road. The sister to my mom, their last born, she's called Mary. So we met her on the road running. Going is like, she was going to Yala. She was going back to my grandmother's place, my mama's home. And then when we entered the compound, a few minutes like this, my father came out of the house and just screamed. She just shouted, Mary! And wherever she had reached, she heard that voice. She came back. So it was said that our mother died. But we were young, but I remember that she had died. So she came and she started crying. People came, and those days people loved one another. So people at home, people came.
People were
too many in the village.
Your mother was a very loving person.
And my dad was a clinical officer. For that reason, he used to inject people when you're sick. Yeah. But prior to that, she had been, after getting the child, she was taking, her breast started aching so much. So she was taken to Maseno Hospital to be x-rayed. And they did what? The x-ray was done, but they didn't get anything. There was nothing. They didn't get any disease. And it was swollen and
Oh.
painful. And she used to say that it's like there's fire inside. It was burning inside. So my father, I remember my father at one point saying, after my mother had died, so she was telling somebody that I even tried, I took her to Maseno and they checked and there was nothing. So I asked them whether if I can do it myself and if he could do the operation. I had him now. You know the people who come to the funeral are much later after the burial.
Yes.
So now she was giving them the story. And you know, I used to sit there next to him. So he was giving that story. And then that's when I heard that he wanted, it asked the doctor, what if he goes home and then he does the operation himself to check what is inside. Then he was told, if you do that, you will be going against the medical ethics. Yeah, you can't do that because the operation can only be done in hospital, and also you can't do it because we didn't find anything. They didn't give out anything. So that is the strategy that struck us. So she passed on. She went to be with the Lord. Let me say that. Yeah, she went to be with the Lord, and we stayed home. Now we stopped going to school. People are screaming, I can tell you. People are crying. And when we start crying, our dad was saying like, he stops crying and then he says, we are feeling hungry, we should be given food. Yeah, that's what he thought, because he knew we could not understand death. But that thing, it stuck with me. I think I was 8 years. I turned 8 years. Yeah, I turned 8 years that time. So that class 1 that I was in Gotregea didn't materialize because now we have no one.
Yeah.
And many have been left with a small baby, small one,
Very
Dora, very small. Yeah. So now, my sister was in Mombasa and she was with Mama Boy. Mama Boy is the lady I follow, my late sister, Florence. She was staying with Mildred, she's our 3rd born, our 4th born. Yeah, they were staying in Mombasa. And so they came for the funeral. They found after my mom had been buried. So they came, and now she wanted to go back, but she wanted to go back now with me also. So I stayed with her in her home in Gotregea, because she was also just married around there. So we stayed until now we went to Mombasa. I was not going to school now. School stopped. Then we went to Mombasa. I don't remember, but I was taken to a school called Bom Primary School, but evening classes. I was taken for evening classes. So I could go because Florence was going to Magongo. That school was called Magongo Primary. And me, I was going to Bom, just Karibu. It's just nearby. Like a house is here, and you see that nini there. As you go down to Dr. Leonita's place, that's where the school is. That's the kind of a distance. That's that distance, yes. So that's where I went. But I didn't know which class I went to. Because again, we didn't stay. Because it was even in class. I think we were just, all of us, everybody was just going, because there were even big people there. Yeah, there was a time the president had said, even old people should go to school. So yeah, so I was in that class. But we didn't stay for long. It was not even a term. Then the husband to my sister, my brother-in-law, got a transfer to Turkana. So we moved to Turkana. No, we first of all came to Nairobi en route to Turkana. When we reached Nairobi, we stayed, I think, for a week. And then Florence was left now to go home, to go back to my dad. It was just the same year that we moved. It was just the same year. Yeah. So she was left so that she can go home and continue with her studies, while me now, I stay with them to also help them take care of their children, their young children. So we moved to Lodwar. We stayed in Lodwar. I didn't know dates and months. I didn't know. But in 1977, because my mom died in 1976, so in 1977 we came to Kisumu, Manyata area. So a house was rented because now children have to go to school. They have already reached the age for going to school. In Lodwar, we didn't go to school at all. People are walking naked. The Turkana people are walking naked. The place is very hot and there's no rain. I remember it only, I think, rained once in that whole year, only once. So we were brought to Kisumu, and my brother-in-law remained in Turkana because he was working with fisheries department. And my sister was a housewife. And so I came to Kisumu, and the children were registered in school. And then even me, I was registered, I think, or yeah. But I used to go in the afternoon.
In Kisumu too?
Yeah, in Kisumu town. Manyata Primary School. But I used to go that one of evening. Yeah, afternoon, after the children have come back. Then now I've taken care of them nicely. Then I can now go. To school. So I went to school until end of that year. So the mother-in-law to my sister passed on. And so everyone was coming home because her mother-in-law has passed on. So that's the day I think I made a decision, I'm not going back. So as I stayed with my dad. I went to my dad and told him, I want to go to school. The school for morning. Yeah, because I used to, in that Manyata, I could only get mother tongue, being only mother tongue that is left. Because the people have done maths, English, those other subjects. I only get the Luo. People are being taught Luo. That's all I could get in school. So I was feeling like I'm missing out. So I went back and told my dad I want to stay home. But it didn't work because my brother came, Samuel Ochilo. He came from Nairobi for that funeral of mother-in-law to my sister. Then he found that I've refused, I'm not going to Kisumu. Then he said, okay, let me go with you. Let me go with her. I'll take her to a school in Nairobi. So we came with him to Nairobi. But it didn't work again because he could go to work, leave me with my sister-in-law, which is his wife. But she said she didn't get schools for me. So that year again, it passed. So 78 now, my elder sister, a bigger sister, the one Mildred follows, Margaret, her son passed on. And so they buried in that cemetery, Langata, in Nairobi. And then there's that tradition where now you have to go back home and take that grief back home before you can come back, even after you buried your child in the city. So that's another chance I got to go back to my dad. I told my brother I'm going back. Why? I told him, no, I'm missing my dad. But I was yearning for school. So we went back with them, and then I crossed because in that village you just cross, you don't take a bus, you cross the river and you go back to your home. So I crossed the river and went back home, and that's the time I started now schooling. I went to Muhaka Primary School, where now I went to class 3, not class 2 now. I went to class 3, but I didn't know how to read. I only knew how to write Suji, but still, I didn't know how to read. Yeah, I was having that challenge. But after some time, in that class, one day, I just stood and read that. I was told to read that book. It used to be called or Friends or something. There's a textbook, and I read it. And the teacher told everyone to clap for me. Then I knew. Then I've known how to read English. And that is how I continued. And in class 3, now I was tall. I was given that position of timekeeper, bell ringer. So break time, I'm ringing the bell, people to go for break. Break is over, people to go back to class. Lunchtime, yeah. So in class 4, you know, our young sister Dora was still at home. Yeah,
She was still with your father.
yes, we were staying. She was not. You know, there's something very interesting, because now, before I even went to Mombasa, after my mother was buried, so people, the sisters came and relatives, they sat, and so they wanted to take the children. So my father sat and heard them talk. These children are too many for you. We can help you bring them up. Yeah, so said, now, whom do you want? Another person says, wants Alice, wants Akoth, wants Adiambu, that is me. And my follower, Akoth. Another follower there, another one is a boy, Oduor, Wilson. Another one is Alice. They are not talking about the baby. The baby. Yeah, after they had talked like that, then my dad said, I've heard you. No child of mine is living here. If you had said that you're going to help me bring this child of months up, then I would have agreed, you take, and I would have given you the others. But you want to take those ones and you're leaving this one, the one who is supposed to be breastfed. You are not taking, you are taking none. And then they left to their homes. And that's how we remained. And then that is how I went to, when my sister came, now I went with my sister. And my father remained with the children. My youngest sister, Dora, who was in months, she stayed for so long without walking. And you know, it was not easy job. Yeah. Yeah, it was not easy job. And my brother, Samuel Wangukwa, my mother died when he was going to Form 2. Form 2. Kakamega Boys High School. In fact, he was called from the stage. He was already going. The school was opening and he had already left. He was brought back to the stage that your mama is no more, so you come back. Yeah, so we were left many because my mother used to have children at a very short intervals. So we were left many like that, young. So I stayed with my dad for long until I went now to Form 1. Even Form 1, I was still with him. Form 2, I went to a boarding school. Form 1, I went to boarding school near Girls High School.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got many points, you know. I was clever. I went to Form 1 near Girls High School. Yeah. I'm thankful to my late brother, elder brother, Samuel Ochilo. He came through and he paid my school fees for Form 1. Yeah. That is how things were. That's the tragedy that hit us, because we could go without food, you know. Could go without food because now it was just our dad. And our dad is one person. We are young. We can't fend for ourselves. So he could go and treat people like malaria, what. And then he does what? At times he's doing it on credit. He's not being paid. Yeah, they'll pay when they get money. So, you know, it accumulates and they are not able to pay. We went hungry, my dear. We went hungry. We only knew, the food we knew was amaranth, and the slippery vegetable, then kunde with salt. We were not able to afford cooking fat. The cooking fat, and it was okay. It was yeah. We were growing tall. Yeah,
it was
just
healthy.
like that. It was very healthy. yeah, we could have one meal, and the way is the way I cook. You see the way I cook a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
She
yeah.
cooks a lot of food.
That is how we used to eat like that. And in fact, all my relatives, even my aunties, the sister to my dad, that's the way they cook. Because at one point I went to stay with them. Yeah, I went to stay with them when I was in Form 4. I went to stay with them. My late auntie, Joanne. I stayed with Joanne, the mother to Richard Orlando, my very best, the best cousin ever, Richard Orlando. He made me step to Form 5. He paid my school fees in Form 5. Yeah. So that is how things were. In primary, our father could not afford even to pay for, it was 25 shillings for it used to be per parent. It used to be paid per parent. Even if you have 10 children in the school, you pay 25 shillings. But he could not afford it because he was feeding for us, so we could afford it. So I developed a strategy in school at class 4, where now I go buy groundnuts. If I buy for 3 shillings, I'll come fry them with salt and water, no oil. Then I go with a spoon to school. Then I sell during break time. And so many children were doing the same because of those economic hard times. So I managed to save money and paid. So when we were chased from school that our father has not paid 25 shillings, I paid. And so all of us will be in school because, but his name is the one is written that so and so has paid. Yeah, even uniform, I could do the same. We sell during weekends, Saturday and Sunday, sugarcane and groundnuts. Groundnuts for school. At one point now, we graduated to making mandazi. Yeah?
That's wonderful.
Mandazi, we carry them, you sell in school during break time. Because there are others, people are not the same. Others have money, others have nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's how we used to make profits. And then we buy school uniform and pay whatever activity money, like 6 shillings. During that time, 6 shillings was easy to get. 25 shillings is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that is how I grew up. I grew up in that hardship. And then Form 1, Form 2, school fees issues, being chased home. Form 2, I remember my dad taking his only bicycle and selling it for me to pay for me school fees. After he had sold it, the money was not enough for the school fees. And the school fees was 1,050 shillings. Guys, 1,000 is like...
That was a lot of money back then.
It was a lot of money, and getting it was not easy. Because even the transport was 3 shillings or 5 shillings, and getting that transport back from school, it was not easy. Yeah. We are talking here of 1983, 84, 85, 86, I did my Form 4. 87, I was in Form 5. And 88, I did my Form 6. And mark you, I had leadership skills. Even in high school, I was still in leadership. I was a house prefect, Crane House, and then I became the head girl of Nia Girls High School in Form 5 and 6. Yeah, I still had those leadership skills. Leadership, yeah, it was inborn. Yeah, so I think that's why I was able to navigate. God had prepared me for that, because at a young age I was able to gather money and pay for all my siblings, the one from behind me. And Maki, we were going with Dora to school to stay in class 1, just to stay there. She can't walk, and when she goes to she soils herself, then I'm called from class to go and clean. Yeah, the teachers were understanding. Yeah. So that is how, in a nutshell, that is how I grew up. have I digressed? Or
Yeah, you've explained. So,
yeah.
you've talked about how you lost your mother and how you grew up.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to ask, how did you maneuver through all the pain of losing a mother, through all those to where you are right now? What kept you going?
Wow, what kept me going? I wanted a better life for myself. I really wanted a better life for myself. So I had some role models. When I go to my auntie, I see how people are living. You know, as we used to sleep down on a mat. You know, that mat, it's like sticks.
Yeah,
You
the
sleep
bamboo
on it.
mats, the
Yeah.
soft bamboo mats.
They are bamboo. They're called bamboo. I don't know, yeah. But when you wake up, you have lines on your body. You know it? Yes. So when you go the other side, you find they have mattresses. So you're wondering. Because we knew only our dad's bed has a mattress. Yeah. So you are like, and then you see, hey, my cousin has a car. So what does it take to buy a car? So you're told you work hard in school, you get better grades, you continue learning, and then you get a job, you get a good job. When you pass very well, you get a good job, and then you'll be able to achieve that in life. And so that was the spirit. So me, in my schooling, I was number 1, number 2. If I do badly, it's number 3. The whole of primary now. From that time when I came back to stay with my dad, that was my number. My number 1 was my number. Yeah, it was my number. Until in class 6, I wanted to go to where my bigger sister, not elder, but the one I come after, Florence, was near Girls High School. So I jumped shift. I moved to another primary school where I'll be able to get that school. Yeah.
So growing up to your sister was your role model too.
Yes. Wanted to, yeah. In fact, she was the only girl in we were born how many? We were born 13. Yeah. And she was the first girl to get to secondary school. Because the others got married after class 7. Because during that time, there was no class 8. It was class 7, then we go to Form 1. So she was the first one. She was the first daughter to get to the secondary school. So I wanted to follow suit. So, and I joined her there. But unfortunately, she lacked school fees. The person who was paying her school fees could not continue when she was just crossing to Form 4, first term. And her schooling just ended like that. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah. So what was
So the last question.
Yes.
You talked about how you were in primary, how you went through high school. So after your high school, how was
my high school? No, secondary school first.
You were
secondary school. You know, there's
that.
A difference between secondary school and high school. Secondary school is Form 1 to Form 4. That is secondary school. Form 5 and 6, that's high school. So even currently, even the 844 system, they talk of high school, but there's no high school there. The high school stopped when they scrapped Form 5 and 6. So it's secondary school. Yeah. So after Form 4, I went to stay with my auntie. Yeah? Joanne. So I stayed with her. She said, stay here, so that it was after Form 4. I did my Form 4 and I'd passed, but now we are looking for a job. In order to uplift the standard of living in my home. My dad, you know. Yeah. So she told me, come and stay with me. If your cousin comes, now Richard Orlando, yeah, he's the one who gives people jobs in Nairobi. We shall talk to him to go with you so that he can give you a job. So I went there. I stayed with there, and then he came driving, and I was like, wow, I mean, he has driven this car from Nairobi to here in Maliera. Wow. Then after we talked, the mother, my auntie told him about that, about how I've passed and now we need a job because there's extreme. His brother, her brother, my father now, is in extreme poverty. So I can alleviate their lives if I'm given a job. Then my cousin asked me, what did you get in Form 4? I told him I got second division. You know, I missed first division by 1 point. Just 1 point. Yeah. So he said, wow. And have you been called already? I said, yes. I was called in another school called Itirio, mixed, and near girls itself. Then he asked me, you wanted a mixed school? Then I got a shock. You mean I was not supposed to get mixed school is bad? I didn't know. Then he told me, at that level of Form 4, I will not get a meaningful employment. I better go to Form 5 and 6. Then I told him, no, school fees was a problem. I used to stay home for so many months because of school fees. So it is not easy. Then he told me, even him, it was the same thing. But still, God gets you through. So you go. He asked me who was paying before. I told him just fundraisings here and there. My father selling a bicycle. My brother sending money. The one who took me to Form 1. The burden became too much on him, so he was not able to keep up with the same speed of paying school fees. And then he told me my uncle, but that's the brother to my mom, I love him so much, my Uncle George, told me, your uncle, I saw your uncle here. He looks like he has, because my uncle could come and visit me, then they met. It's like he can also do something. Then he just removed 600 from his pocket because the Form 5 they wanted 1,050 shillings first term, and then second term I think 700 and like that. Then he gave me 600 and told me to go to my uncle, the brother to my mom, and tell him now it's a Rambe, I'm going to school. Then when I went, my uncle was like, wow, he has given you that. We went, he was a pensioner at that time. We went to the post office. He removed his pension, added to that money, and took me to take a photo. They used to want passport size photo. Took me to take that one. I think it was 3 shillings or something during those days. And then we entered. The following day, he's the one who took me to school for 5, like a parent. Took me to school. And he paid that school fees, the 600 plus whatever he had added. And that's how I managed Form 5 and Form 6. And Form 5 and 6, I used to get bursary in school. Yeah, so when people are supposed to pay 1,000, I could pay 700. So 300 has been paid by the bursary fund from the school. Yeah, that is how things were for me. Yeah. Wow. Yes, after that, Form 6, I missed the points to take me to university. So I came back to the one who took me to Form 5. I came to stay with him in Nairobi. And from his house, one of his nephews from the wife's side is the one who called me and told me they need somebody in the bank, somebody who has done mathematics, and somebody who is an athlete. Eh? And then I was like, those things I can do them. And then told me, if you can do them, take your CV to that bank. And I took it. That was in 1989. And in 1990, That was, I think it was in October. And so I went through the interview in the same year, but I waited, and then I was called in January. So I went there like it was on like on a Friday. Yeah, Friday, 5th. It was January 5th. Then I was told, come on Monday at 8, ready to work. Those were the words. I wasn't given a letter, but I was happy because they've said it. So Monday, I was there. I didn't know the roads in Nairobi. I could get lost looking for that office along Kenyatta Avenue. I've passed, then I asked the watchman, have you seen this building, this office? And then he tells me, you've just passed it. Then I go back. I go back and enter, then work. So I worked and I met good people there who were able to nurture me. Because even in that situation, by the way, I didn't have clothes. I started working. The sweater, Nairobi is very cold. I was using my school sweater, the jersey, yeah, to cover myself because I didn't have clothes. And Form 5, I had a gray skirt. I used it as well, yeah, to complement my wardrobe, yeah, even just like that. But I met good people who nurtured me, who told me how to save. There's a lady, Elizabeth Otieno. She's a Kisi, Nyasiamboka, Elizabeth Otieno. May her soul rest in peace. She told me, Esther, see, when you buy a new dress, a new dress is very expensive. So you buy a new blouse, but you go to Kikomba, you buy a second. When you mix them, people will not know that you are wearing second-hand clothes. Yeah. And so we are doing like that. Smart. People would not know that's what we were doing. Yeah. And then I met another lady called in that office called Hilda Kamau. Hilda Kamau, she's still alive. She retired. And she told me she could look at my payslip. And I told her, oh, it's so little. Then she tells me, no, it's not little, this one. It's not little. You cut it like this. This one, do this. You know, I started staying alone and also taking care of people at home.
Your siblings.
My siblings. Not in terms of school fees, because most of them now refuse to go to school. They refuse. I told them, now I'm able to pay, but they didn't want because they had been chased during that time. They are being chased, but me, I was following with other people to assist. Then they gave up fast. So, yeah. So just helping in terms of food, and the ones who want to do the art. Is it art or what? Like going to do your like technical skills. Yeah, I could pay that. I took my brother, that my second follower. I stayed with him. He had gone up to Form 1, and Form 2 he could not go anymore because school fees are a problem. I'm also in school. I'm also struggling. Everyone is struggling. They said, he left. So I took him to go and do some. I was paying that. And then my other sister, she had gone to do tailoring. Another one, somebody took her to go and do those caregiving. Yeah, like that. So I could take them back home. No, you're not going to do caregiving. No, go to school. My father said you have to go to school. They didn't want to go to school. And yeah, so it was like that. Until now, in 1992, I was employed in 1992, my father passed on. And that's the greatest tragedy that hit me, because this is the person I knew. I didn't know my mom much because, when you're young, you don't know many things. But this is one person we have struggled with us. And now when the Lord has just blessed me, though that's, starting salary is kidogo, but I could send my dad money every month. And can I tell you something? Why I always feel I am blessed? Because my first salary, I sent to my dad, I sent to my cousins, everybody who are my destiny connector. I gave them the money. My first salary, it went like that. And everyone I gave, they could take it and bless it and say, may the Lord bless, the Lord bless. And so, even when I had money, small, or I don't feel anything that I'm broke. No, it's everything that I have is blessed. And so I telling you about Hilda. So Hilda, we met, and she looked at my payslip and told me, no, this one, I'm taking you somewhere. You are going to open that account. Whenever you have this, you are earning 4,000. So that is the net you are getting. So you are paying rent how much? I told her I'm paying rent 500. Okay. So 2,000, let us say that is budget. Your father, you're sending in. These other two, take 500 is yours. You can go to Kikomba and buy a few clothes. Then this 1,000, save it. Once you reach 20, I'll take you somewhere. Then she took me to East Africa Building Society to go and open a fixed deposit there. That time the rate was 32%. 32%. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yes. So I started saving from there. So I got motivated. Anytime my money is left in my account, she used to tell me, you clean the account so that the next one, when it comes, it finds the house is clean. It has a place to sit. So if the payday is tomorrow, today I remove all the money, I put it in a savings account. It accumulates. If it reaches 5,000, or I take it to East Africa Building Society and keep it there. That is how I managed to save. And then I also met my boss, Ali, my boss Onyango, Mr. Onyango. You could take, those days when you are going to remove money from your account, it must be signed by the boss. So you could ask me, why are you taking 500 shillings? Then I give reasons. Then he tells me, he totals it up and tells me, cancel that one, write the one for 350. Because what you've told me is only coming to 350 and you want to take 500. So that also helped me to save. And then he told me to open an account with a SACCO, 200 to be going there. So when it reached the time for taking a loan from the SACCO, I took a loan, but I didn't have anything to do with the loan. I took it to East Africa Building Society to accumulate. And it reached a point where now the manager in East Africa Building Society was treating me like I'm a very good saver. So he asked me, how much are you bringing for me today? So even when I take from the bank where I was working, I take a loan, I take it there so that I get more interest. And this other side, see, I'm paying staff rate, maybe 4 or 6%. But that side, I'm getting 32.
32, yeah.
Yes. So you see, so that is how I managed to accumulate my resources. And so when it reached a point when now we were to take a loan, I was to take a loan and buy a house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They needed 20% to pay. You are being given a loan, but it's 20%. For example, if the house is 10 million, then 20% of 10 million, it's supposed to come from you. So you see, I had a savings.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that is how things were. And that is how, and after that, after getting the house, of course, the house was not complete. This house was not complete. It had concrete. We just used to stay in it like the rural house, mm-hmm. where you just pour water in the morning as you sweep. And then we didn't have electricity. But I had been brought up in that kind of life, so it wasn't a big deal for me. Yeah, it was not a big deal. And so I started repairing, making it habitable, bit by bit, and then I could remortgage. One day maybe you ask me about that, I'll be able to tell you, yeah, what remortgaging means and how you can utilize that facility in order to make your life better. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so guys, we come to an end of the interview.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that interview.
It was a pleasure.
It has opened some other areas that I felt like shedding tears, but I thank God that He has held it, because some other scenarios are painful. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can close for me. Close the show.
Thank you, guys. You'll subscribe for the new subscribers. For the new subscribers, please subscribe. Leave a positive comment. Ask any question below the comments. We will post another video, maybe for a follow-up video about the comments, about anything else. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And kindly share the video. It might motivate somebody else. Yeah, it's never easy to grow up as an orphan, but you can make it if you don't dwell on it. Yes. Thank you so much. May God bless you, keep you safely.
Amen.